Good morning to all. In our last class, we have discussed about spontaneous reactions. Under given, what do you mean by spontaneous reaction? Spontaneous reaction is under given set of conditions. So, if a change or a reaction is taking place on its own with initiation, is called spontaneous reactions. So we can say that the spontaneous reactions, whatever is the backward reaction or reverse of that reaction is non-spontaneous in nature. Spontaneous reactions may be fast or it may be slow. So we have an what idea that spontaneous means it should be very quickly, not like that. Spontaneous reactions, either it may be fast or it may be slow. Slow spontaneous reactions, will take an example as rusting of iron. Rusting of iron is an spontaneous reactions, but it takes a lots of time to undergo the reaction. Like that, spontaneous reactions, either it may be fast or it may be slow. All these things in our last class we have discussed, and we have drawn an conclusion also. That is, if at all, if the reaction is spontaneous, there should be some driving force. So, some force which pushes the reaction forward, or which pushes the reaction, and that we have come to an a conclusion that. So, in the beginning, we have seen few examples where delta H was negative. So, later that we have seen some reactions with delta H positive, also spontaneous in nature, and delta H 0 also spontaneous in nature. That means that the enthalpy is not the criteria for the spontaneity of a reaction. There is something else which drives the spontaneous reaction, and what is that one? So we need to check that thing. Let us take those examples which we have already studied. Let us move to that examples, or let us check cleanly and clearly. So what the point which we were missing in that case. That is, first example, water flows down the hill, potential energy is decreasing. Combustion reaction, observe properly. So here we have a solid taken. So the reactant is a solid one, and the product is gas. Likewise, so the reactant here is once again the solid, and here it is liquid. Aqueous is nothing but liquid. So here it is a liquid, and here it is a gas. So that is when we consider these reactions. The first one, when you consider, so the water, if it is stored above the hill and it is flowing down the hill, that is nothing but, so when you take the physical state is same, water only, but the water which is stored up will have very less amount of movement. But when the water is flowing down, so the movement of particle is more there. The movement is more. The particle is randomly flowing down. Likewise, when you consider here also, when you consider in this case also, that is second reaction. When you consider the second reaction, that is, it is in solid. So solid, the particles are very closely packed or very tightly packed. When you consider the product, the gas, that is very free movement is there, very random movement. Gas particles freely or randomly move in any direction. Likewise, when you consider in this reaction, so it is solid, the reactant is solid here, closely packed, but it is liquid here. That means that, so the movement is much more. The movement is much more here, or much freely it is moving when compared to the reactant. So here also the reactant is a liquid, but the product is a gas. So in all the reactions, we can see that, there is an easier movement or very random movement or disorderness. The word we can use here, the disorderness is found much here, because when you consider solids, so the particles are orderly arranged. When you consider the liquid or gas, the orderness is disturbed. Disorderness is created there. So this indicates that somewhere, for each and every spontaneous reaction is leading towards a disorderness. Clear? So each and every reaction is leading towards the disorderness. So we can say that the disorderness or random movement of the molecules or the particles in the system might be the criteria for the spontaneity of a reaction. So we shall move further so that we can make out further things. So one more example we have taken, that is a very common example when we discuss about the entropy, or when we discuss about the spontaneous reactions. This is a very common example we'll take, that is intermixing of non-reactive gases. So let us take hydrogen and oxygen. So hydrogen, the green colored particles, gas particles, oxygen, the red colored particles. So hydrogen reacts with oxygen under the presence of electric discharge. Then only it undergoes the reaction. If electric discharge is not there, then there won't be any reaction taking place. So reaction won't be observed. So if electric discharge is not there. Clear? So that's why if at all, if hydrogen and oxygen is mixed also, there won't be any reaction because we are not providing any electricity to it. So in one of the container, hydrogen is taken, in another container oxygen is taken. So we have a stop clock over here which is closed. So in the next step, what we are doing is, so in the next step we are going to next step. So we have we have opened the stop clock. So when the stop clock is opened, the gas particle starts moving the side and it moves towards the side. So you can observe only few oxygen are moved towards here, but a large number of hydrogen is moved towards here. It is because molecular mass. Molecular mass of oxygen is more, so because of which the velocity of that oxygen gas molecules are less, but the molecular mass of hydrogen is less. So that's why easily and with a greater speed it is going to move, with a greater velocity it is going to move, and it had mixed with the oxygen. After some time, once again the particles will be mixed up. So some more movement of the particles you can observe here. So at last you can observe the particles are equally mixed up with one another, and we have equally mixed up with one another. They are equally mixed up with one another after some time. So that is nothing but the molecules are intermixed with one another. It shows that. So we said that this process is spontaneous in nature. So if at all, if this process is spontaneous, the particles have moved and they have mixed up randomly with one another. That means that the random movement or disorderness seen in this case also. So that means that the important criteria for the important criteria for the spontaneous reaction might be the randomness or that randomness or disorderness we name a thermodynamic physical function, and that is being named as entropy. So entropy is a thermodynamic function which deals us about the measurement of this randomness or disorderness of the system. So we have concluded that the spontaneous reaction is the one. So where there is, and the criteria for that spontaneous reaction is the disorderness or the random state. So the careful study of all these reactions reveals that a process is, if at all, if the process is to be spontaneous, then it is moving towards a more disordered or more random state. So since every system has a tendency to attain a state of maximum stability, that is very, very important. Whenever there is a reaction, so there will be maximum stability is being observed. The reaction will be driving towards the maximum stability state. Hence, the tendency of more random state may be responsible for the spontaneity of the process. So that we have concluded now. So what do you mean? What is that randomness? So randomness is being measured with the help of an thermodynamic function, and that thermodynamic function we name that one as entropy. So entropy is a measure of randomness. So remember properly, it is the measure of randomness. So entropy is not randomness or disorderness. It is the measure of randomness or measure of disorderness. So entropy is being represented by the symbol capital S. So, what we shall discuss about the physical properties of or characteristics of enthalpy here. Characteristics of enthalpy. So, enthalpy is an extensive property. Its value depends upon the amount of substance. That is nothing but when you say a randomness. So, randomness is nothing but how it is we shall take an example of a classroom. So we have a classroom in which some 10 students are there. Clear? Some 10 students are there. So let us take some 20 students are there. So 20 students, each student is being seated in one desk, one student is sitting, and you have been given with a seating arrangement. That is orderly you are sitting. Now a teacher is changing a position of a seat of one student with another one. So that let us take the first student place is being changed with the second one, and first and second they are interchanging their places. Clear? So like that. So third is changing with fourth one, fifth is changing with sixth one, like that. So how many, if one student is changing with another student, that means that one disorderness is found there. Clear? Like that, third is changing with fourth one and fourth is changing with third one. That is the second randomness or second disorderness is found. If at all, if fifth changes with sixth and sixth with the fifth, then third randomness is found there. Like that, how many number of random, because we have 20 students there, how many number of randomness or disorderness, how many number of seating arrangement is possible? That is what called entropy is. Entropy is nothing but measurement of randomness. When you say that 20 students, it is not only 1 and 2 will interchange. 1 and 20th may interchange, 1 and 19th may interchange, like that. Many number of randomness are possible, and that randomness is called as and that measurement of that randomness is called as entropy. Clear? So if at all, if 10 students are there, then the arrangement is less. If 20 students are there, arrangement is more. If 30 students are there, still arrangement will be more. Like that, as the number increases, the randomness is also increasing. That means that entropy is dependent on the number of particles. Entropy is dependent on the number of particles. So that's why it is an extensive property. Clear? So we can say that entropy is an entropy is an extensive property because it is dependent on the number of particles. So entropy is an extensive property. Like enthalpy and internal energy, entropy of a system is also a state function. So it also dependent on a state function, or it depends upon the state variables. Which are those state variables? We have state variables as pressure, temperature. We have state variables as pressure. We have temperature, we have volume, we have number of moles. All these are state variables. So on all these things, the entropy is dependent. Like enthalpy and internal energy, entropy is also a state function. And we have seen, it is an extensive property. These two things you should remember, it is very, very important. So the greater the disorderness in an isolated system, higher is the entropy. That is nothing but as the number of disorderness, as disorderness increases, then entropy is also going to increase. Entropy is also will be higher. Clear? So that is very, very important thing you should remember. So as the number of particle increases, entropy increases. as the entropy increases, as the disorderness increases, entropy is going to increase. So if at all, if you want to understand more clearly the disorderness or randomness, measuring of randomness is different. Randomness is different. Clear? So measuring of randomness is how much disorderness or how much randomness it is possible we can calculate. We are calculating. That is what called measure of randomness, and that is what entropy is. Randomness is nothing but, in a classroom, if lecturer is there, all students will be sitting in their own places. That is what called orderness. When teacher leaves the class, you'll be start moving in all the directions. So that is what called randomness or disorderness. Clear? So when you're in an disorderness, let us think when you're in an disorderness. So we said that all reactions will lead to disorderness. So if at all, if the reaction is spontaneous, then it is going to lead to disorderness. And I said one more point, that is reaction is taking place means the product will be more stabler. The product will be more attaining more stability. If it is more randomly moving, or if there is more disorderness, then how it will be more stable? Let us take the example of classroom and students itself. So if you are in a classroom, lecturer is there, then so you are not free to move you are not free to turn also, you are not free to move anywhere also. You will be sitting in your place itself. You will be very consciously, you will be observing the class or concentrating on the class. But once when the teacher leaves the class, you'll be randomly moving. So in break time or in lunch break, you'll be randomly moving. So you'll be talking to your friends of other sections. You'll be moving in corridors also. So at that time, so you won't be under stress. You won't be under any pressure there. So you'll be talking, and your mind will be more stabler. So that is nothing but very free mind you'll be having in that state. So like that only, so the particles, if at all, if there is an random movement also, so still the reaction is spontaneous and the products are stabler in nature. Clear it is? So we'll move on to the next. Let us understand the physical meaning of entropy. We have solid, liquid and gases over here. So when you check the solid here, the randomness is very, very less. The randomness is very, very less. So as the randomness or disorderness is less, entropy is also less. So when you consider the gases, when you consider the liquid, the randomness is more than the solid. And when you consider the gases, the randomness is still more than the liquid in gases. So as higher the disorderness, higher will be the entropy. Clear? So we can say that as the disorderness is increasing, entropy is also increasing. So on what the entropy is dependent now? So now we can check that as the disorderness is less, here the disorderness is more, entropy is less, entropy is more. So if you check the solid is being converted as liquid and liquid is being converted as gas. So when from solid to liquid, entropy is increasing. When solid to liquid, entropy is increasing. Just a minute. When solid to liquid, entropy is increasing. Clear? So on what basis it is increasing, or on what it is dependent? So it is dependent on heat. When you heat a solid, so when solid is heated, it is being converted as liquid. When you heat a liquid, it is being converted as gas. That is nothing but entropy is dependent on heat. So solid is being converted as gas, or solid to liquid, liquid to gas. So we need to give heat. We need to provide heat. We need to heat the substance. Then it will be converted into gas of higher disorderness or of higher entropy. That means that so the entropy is dependent on heat. Clear? So now, so what happens when you heat the substance? Let us take from liquid to, or from solid to gas directly, or from liquid to gas. So when you heat the substance, so the molecular force of attraction between the molecules, that is the force of attraction between the molecules decreases. Clear? So the molecules are free to move, and there will be no force of attraction. Negligible amount of force of attraction will be there between them. So because of which random motion is possible, or kinetic energy increases. When kinetic energy increases, so the molecules will be moving in a very random movement will be observed, or entropy of the system is going to increase. That means that the heat is the one which is going to influence the entropy. Clear? So now how can we relate this heat? So we can relate the heat. This is the second point. So how we can relate the heat is entropy. So before moving to this part, so entropy is the one, like internal energy you can't calculate the exact entropy of the system. You can just check the change in entropy. So from one phase from liquid state to gaseous phase, so what is the change in entropy you can observe? Clear? So entropy can be studied only with the change, and we know that entropy is dependent on heat. So change in entropy is directly proportional to heat. So what is this change in entropy? Delta S. S is entropy. Delta indicates change in entropy. Change in entropy is equals to entropy in the final state minus entropy in the initial state, because it is an state function. So that's why S final minus S initial, or S2 minus S1. S is entropy. Entropy in final state minus entropy in initial state. And we can also write delta S is directly proportional to heat. It is dependent on heat now. So let us now also discuss. So we know that heat is related with temperature. So we shall see now. So if at all, if the particle is in the lower temperature, what will be the entropy? If the particle in the higher temperature, then what will be the entropy? So, or if at all, if you are heating that one, then what will be the entropy? We shall see. So already we have seen that is delta S is directly proportional to heat change. It is directly proportional to heat change. That already we have studied now. So now we are discussing about the temperature. How the entropy or change in entropy is related with temperature. So we have taken a same body. So that is a same container we have taken. It is closed. We have that one of the container with the same amount of substance in the lower temperature, and the other one in the higher temperature we have. Clear? So now when the particle in the lower temperature, they are also freely, they can move, but it is in the lower temperature, the kinetic energy of the particle is less. So that's why the random movement is very, very less here. But when you consider the higher temperature, when you consider the system at higher temperature, the kinetic energy is more, because of which the random movement is also more here. Now what we are doing is we are supplying heat. Now. So we are supplying heat in the sense we are increasing the temperature. When you increase the temperature, what happens? When you increase the temperature, these particles will be absorbing the heat, and it will show the random movement. Like this. More and more kinetic energy increases, the particle will move randomly. But here already the particle is in more random movement due to higher temperature. Now here also same thing. We are increasing the temperature. We are heating the substance and we are increasing the temperature, because increasing the temperature. Same amount of heat we are providing. Whatever the amount of heat we are provided here, the same amount we are providing here. The same amount of temperature increase here also it is shown. But the particles entropy is not that much observed, because already they are in an entropy change is very, very higher. Already they are randomly moving. Even if the temperature is provided also, there won't be that much entropy increase is not seen here. Clear? So when heat is added to a system of a lower temperature, it causes greater randomness. But when the same quantity of heat is provided to the system which is at higher temperature, so it doesn't shows that much randomness here, because already they are in that. So it is just like, so a student who is very hungry by 1 o'clock is very, very hungry. And the one more student is there who already had his lunch. So for both of them, we are providing a pizza. The student who is very, very hungry will be very happily, he'll be completing that pizza and he'll be very happy and he'll be more satisfied. The student who has already completed his lunch, and if we provide the pizza, he can have one or two pieces in that. But and then you can observe the what happiness for the student who had lunch will be less when compared to the student who is hungry. So the same way here. So this is like an hungry, and this is like an student who had completed his lunch, and this is what we are providing pizza. Clear? So here the temperature was very less, so that it had absorbed all the temperature, kinetic energy increases, random movement increases. But here when you consider already they are in a random movement, disorderness is more there. So if you increase the temperature also, there won't be much effect. Clear? So that means that when you say, when you compare this one, even though heat and temperature are directly related, don't get confused. Heat, we say that delta S is directly proportional to heat. So then Q and T are directly proportional. But here it is not like that. Here the substance with a lower temperature will be showing more entropy, and the high temperature will be showing less entropy. That is nothing but, so entropy here is going to not that much increases. It will be less. It will be less. That is nothing but as usual. How much it was, it will be showing the same thing. But here when you consider this one as a system, entropy is going to increase. Entropy is going to increase. What is the temperature of the system? Temperature of the system is low. Lower the temperature, entropy is more. Higher the temperature, entropy changes less. So we can conclude that. So if at all, if we are connecting the entropy change with the temperature, entropy change of the temperature is inversely related with the temperature. Entropy change is inversely related with the temperature. Clear it is? Followed. So lower the temperature, entropy changes more, because the particles with the less kinetic energy, when you increase the temperature, so it is going to show more. The same amount of temperature you are providing here also, but entropy is not that much increased. Entropy change is not that much observed. Clear? It is not about the entropy we are measuring. It is the change in entropy we are measuring. The change in entropy is not that much, because already it is in a higher entropy. So the change will be very, very less. Clear it is? Followed? So it is inversely proportional and it is directly proportional. So at last we can conclude that change in entropy is inversely related to temperature. So we can write the formula delta S is equals to Q reversible by T. Q is heat. Reversible process we are considering. It is because you'll be studying this one under the heading of Clausius equation. That is a different concept only is there. For competitive it is there. In theory it has not mentioned. So we are going to study that one under competitive part. But you remember now, delta S is equals to Q reversible. It should be reversible only. Q reversible with by T. So if heat is absorbed by the system, then delta S, Q will be positive, delta S also will be positive. If heat is evolved by the system, then Q will be negative, delta S is also negative. Clear? So we have studied that. So if the entropy, the reaction has to be spontaneous, means entropy should be increasing. Entropy should be more. Change in entropy should be more. Then only the process will be spontaneous. This point is more important. You remember that one. So for any reaction to be spontaneous, entropy change should be increasing, or entropy change should be positive. That is, delta S should be positive. Clear? Now, so the ASI unit of this one, if joule, if heat is being measured in terms of joule and T in temperature in Kelvin, then the unit will be joule per Kelvin. So the total entropy change. What is entropy change? We shall see. So the total entropy change. Whenever we say that entropy change, it is the total entropy change of an isolated system. It is important. Isolated system. So in any reaction, if you take, so isolated system, we have seen just now intermixing of gases. So when you check the intermixing of gases, so it is an isolated system. Neither energy is transferred nor matter is transferred to the surrounding. So within the container, those two containers are our system. So neither matter is transferred nor energy is transferred. Clear? So that means that that is an isolated system. So an isolated system, the entropy change will be. So we have seen just a minute. Wait. Entropy change is equals to entropy change of the system and entropy change of the surrounding. So when you say that entropy change of an universe is equals to entropy change of system plus entropy change of surrounding. Already we have discussed universe is equals to system plus surrounding. Clear? Universe is equals to system plus surrounding. So total entropy change, when you are writing total, either you write universe or you write total. So total entropy change is equals to entropy change of a system plus entropy change of a surrounding, which should be greater than 0. Then only the process is spontaneous in nature. Clear? Or we can say that entropy change of an universe will be always greater than 0, because universe is an isolated system. Because universe, outside universe, nothing is there. So universe won't be exchanging anything outside, neither in terms of energy nor in terms of matter. And in the universe, what are all natural processes are there? So we know that all those natural processes are spontaneous in nature. So that's why when we say that entropy change of a universe will be always greater than 0, or always it is increasing, it is because in the universe, whatever the natural processes are there, all those are spontaneous. So for a reaction to be spontaneous, change in entropy should be greater than 0, or it should be positive. So that's why we can conclude that delta S of universe is greater than 0. Clear? Next. So entropy of a phase transition. What is this phase transition? Phase transition is nothing but so the change of matter from one state to another state. So it is the substance is changing from one state to another state. That is what called phase transition. Phase transition. Clear? So in the first part we are checking now. So solid is being converted into liquid. Solid is being converted into liquid now. So when solid is being converted into liquid, so that is when you should heat that one. And the temperature exactly required for this process is melting point of that solid, melting point of that substance. So the temperature, the changes occur at a definite temperature. And what is the temperature called? The temperature is called melting point of the substance. Clear? It is melting point of the substance. So when you say that entropy of fusion, so you can define entropy of fusion as entropy changes taking place. Entropy changes taking place when 1 mole of the substance changes from solid to liquid state at its melting point. At its liquid point, 1 mole of the solid is being converted as a liquid. So that is what called entropy of fusion. Clear? And at what temperature? The temperature should be melting point. So we have already seen that. So delta S is equals to Q by T, and that Q we have written as delta H. Since there is an solid and liquid is involved, so we can write that. So delta S, that is delta fusion change in the substance from solid to liquid, delta S fusion. This is the process. So the entropy change for that process is called as delta fusion. S or delta S fusion is equals to heat change. Q we have represented as delta H here. Delta fusion H divided by temperature, and that temperature we know it is melting point. Temperature is melting point. Here it is. Next process we shall see. Next process is entropy of vaporization, where liquid is being converted into gas. So the liquid will be boiled, and it will be heated until the temperature of the liquid reaching the temperature of boiling point. Until its boiling point it will be boiled, so that the liquid will be converted as gas. So for this process, the vaporization process, this is the forward is the vaporization process. We know that all these transformations are equilibrium process. So that's why a double-headed arrow is given. So in this transformation, the process is vaporization. In this transformation, whatever the entropy changes there, that is what called delta S vaporization. That is equals to delta H vaporization divided by temperature, and that temperature we know it is boiling point. The temperature we can mention as a boiling point. So this is about the entropy of a phase transition. So in our next class we'll discuss about the remaining concepts. Thank you.